Hey everyone, it's Noah and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about everyone's favorite topic, how to deal with returns. Of course, I'm kidding because when it comes to dropshipping, returns are one of my least favorite aspects of the business. It's also a topic that a lot of dropshipping YouTubers don't talk about. So in this video, I want to show you exactly how I handle returns in my business, specifically for wholesale dropshipping. First and foremost, you need to look at the return policies for your suppliers because that's going to be the groundwork for how you're going to handle returns in your business. When it comes to dropshipping, you are relying 100% on your suppliers. You're relying on them for fulfillment, you're relying on them for warehousing, you're also relying on their employees. So when it comes to returns, you are also relying on their policies. This is why the very first thing I do when I start looking at a new potential supplier is I look at their return policies, and if they don't have it on their website, you need to make sure that you're asking for it. Some of the things that I'm looking for in order to ensure that there are favorable return policies I'm looking for how much the restocking fee is going to be. The restocking fee is how much a supplier is going to charge you in order to take back the return. So typically you'll see restocking fees at anywhere around 10 to 20%. So let's say you have an item and a customer wants to send it back. Once you return it to your supplier, then they might charge you 10 to 20% of the price that you paid for the wholesale price. The next thing I look at is return window. So this is the amount of time that you have in order to go ahead and have the customer return it back to the supplier. I've worked with suppliers that have short return windows around 14 days, and that's not enough, especially when you're selling on Amazon or eBay that allow for really long return windows, upwards of 30 days. So the last couple of things that I look for are number one, replacements. Do they go ahead and replace items? Number two, how do they handle damaged items? So if an item arrives damaged to the customer, will the supplier replace it or refund me? Number 3 and 4 are kind of the same thing. Will the supplier require you to use an RMA, and will they require you to use their own shipping labels? An RMA stands for a Return Merchandise Authorization. So this is a unique number that the supplier will assign to your return so that this way, when they get the return back, they'll see the number and they'll know which order it's for and who to refund. So I know I just threw out a bunch of terms. Let's go ahead and let's look at some examples of some suppliers so that we can get a better feel of how it will look on their website and what to look for. So these are some very common suppliers. I've shown them on my channel. I'm not really pulling up any of the suppliers that are more complicated. I want to show you basic return policies and where you can find them. Most suppliers will have them on their footer of their website. You can either find it in a specific section or a page. So here you'll see under policies, CTW has a page labeled returns, so that was very straightforward. Under this supplier, Sagebrook Home, what you're going to see is that they have shipping and returns, so sometimes it'll be combined. Other times you'll need to just go to the FAQ page or just to the general dropshipping policy page in order to find it. So here I could just find it right now. So I want to show you a third supplier, and this supplier is Bay Burke. Now they do not have the dropshipping policy listed on their website. They do offer dropshipping, but it's an additional layer to the wholesale account. So you're going to need to contact them in order to receive an email with their dropshipping policy, which is going to contain their returns. So sometimes you will not see it on the supplier's website. As you can see, it's not really here. And instead, you're just going to need to contact them and say, hey, I'm interested in opening a wholesale account. What are your return policies? When I'm looking at a supplier's return policies, as I've already mentioned, I'm looking for a restocking fee, I'm looking for how to handle damaged items, RMA, return window, etc. So let's review this one right here. Orders may be canceled by phone. Canceled orders will be subject to a 20% restocking fee if the order has been picked and packed. So it says right there that cancellations, they will accept it. However, if you've placed the order and it's already been prepared to ship, then they're going to charge you 20% of the order value in order to ship. So that's something that you want to keep in mind. You want to make sure that with Amazon or eBay that you're giving yourself enough time to potentially cancel orders, or how are you going to deal with order cancellations. So next we have returned orders may be subject to a 20% restocking fee. That's something else that you want to keep in mind. Again, if you get a return from a customer on Amazon and it's just a buyer's remorse, the item's fine, it's not damaged. If you want to send it back to the supplier, they're going to charge you 20%. Continuing on, it says return requests should be made through our toll-free customer service number. So it says to call them. No return merchandise will be accepted without authorization. Shortages and damage claims must be reported within 10 days of receipt of merchandise. On domestic packages, refused by the customer, shipping charges to the customer and shipping charges back to this company will be added to the customer's account. So basically, those are all the return policies. I didn't see any return window. It just says that damages and other nicks or something to the item need to be reported within 10 days of receipt of it. So that's something else that you do need to take into account. So from this return policy, it seems that there is a 20% fee for the restocking fee. And then if a buyer refuses delivery, then you are going to eat the cost for that. So essentially, it's just a 20% flat fee. The one thing that they didn't mention is replacements and damaged items. So what I would do is I would go to this supplier, I would contact them, and I would specifically ask them, how do you handle replacements? How do you handle damaged items, etc., etc.? You want to know all of this stuff beforehand. Going back to the supplier Sagebrook Home, after looking on the policies for their website, they do offer drop shipping. However, they have the policies listed for bulk orders because that's mostly what they do. In order to find out drop shipping policies, you would need to contact them. So let's talk concrete numbers. Specifically, I'm looking for restocking fees under 20, maybe 25%. It really just depends on how often a return is coming in. And it also depends on how you're going to be handling the orders. If a supplier has a 10% restocking fee, then maybe I will go ahead and I'll send it back to them because that's not a huge cost to eat for my business. If a supplier has a 30% restocking fee, then I might not want to send it back to them. I might want to go ahead and send it to myself if it's an item that I could potentially just resell. The last thing that I didn't see mentioned in any of these policies was an RMA or a shipping label. So again, just because it's not mentioned doesn't mean that it's not included. You need to ask about this stuff because if you're selling on Walmart, for example, Walmart returns are automatic. So you can't really give your own RMA. So your supplier will need to accept that return without having their own label on the item or without giving an RMA. So if your supplier requires that you use their own label, then maybe you can't sell their products on Walmart, or you need to look for a workaround, which we will talk about later in this video. So after I analyze my supplier's return policies, I can then determine, are they going to be a good fit for my business? And will they work within overall how I'm going to handle returns for my business? So on that note, let's talk about how do I handle returns for my business? Very simply, it really depends on the platform. I sell on a lot of different platforms. Generally for Amazon and Walmart, they are mostly the same. And then for eBay, there's a little bit of difference. And then for Shopify, since it's my own website, I can generally set all of my own policies. With Amazon's new return policy, they are now saying that a lot of items can't be exempted from automatic prepaid returns. What this means is that when a customer wants to initiate a return, it's going to be automatic and they're going to be given a label from Amazon paid by your expense. This is very similar to Walmart, where returns are automatic and labels are issued without you having to go ahead and manually approve it. So the way that I have it set up in my business, both on Amazon and on Walmart, is I take my supplier's address and I set it up as a return warehouse center. I have a video on this. I will link to it down below. But basically, I take my supplier's address, I set it up as a return warehouse center, and then whenever I list one of their items, I go ahead and I upload a file saying that this item or this listing goes to this address. So whenever a customer orders one of their items and then they want to return that item, Amazon automatically knows to send a label sending that item back to the supplier's address, the correct address that I linked the two together. Now, the only way that I'm able to do this is if my suppliers don't require that I use their own label and that they don't require an RMA. So if those two conditions are met, then I can just have the customer return it to the supplier. Now, the difference between Walmart and Amazon is that Walmart actually does not allow you to charge restocking fees versus on Amazon. So on Amazon, you can actually pass the charge of the restocking fee onto the customer. A lot of times the customer will send you an item where the box is damaged, it's the original packaging is damaged, maybe there's some marks on the items. So a lot of times I will charge my customer a restocking fee on Amazon, and that's how you can recoup some of your cost. For eBay, it's a little bit different. For eBay, you can upload your own label. So whenever I get a return from a customer on eBay, I just go ahead and I get it approved with my supplier, and then I upload the label to eBay and have it sent back. Now, there are rare circumstances where the supplier does not accept returns, or potentially maybe if it's an item that I can resell, it's a very small item, I can just get it sent back to me, and there's enough margin where I can resell it and still break even. So for that, I'll have the items sent back to my house, or you can have it sent back to your warehouse if you have one. That's something that I've done in the past, as well as something else that I'm trying out is I'm starting to use a return center. So let's talk about a return center really quickly. A return center is where you can go ahead and you can partner with a fulfillment center that is acting as a warehouse. They'll receive all of your returns. So instead of setting up your supplier's address as the return warehouse, you can go ahead and set up this return warehouse as the address. Now all of your items are going to be sent back to this warehouse address. And then when the warehouse receives those items, they'll let you know that they received them and what do you want to do with them. So you can upload your own label, you can have them send it back to you, whatever you want for them to do, they will go ahead and do it. This is also how a lot of other drop shippers are doing it right now. And the cost is not that bad. So I'm trying it out in my business and I'll let you guys know how it is doing in a future video. So the closing point for this video is that I also do Amazon FBA and WFS, which stands for Walmart Fulfillment Service. With those services, you can send your items into either Amazon or Walmart, and they will handle the shipping, but they'll also handle the returns, which is beneficial because this way you don't need to worry about the customer sending the item to some random address. Instead, Walmart or Amazon will take the return in for you, and then once they receive it, you can choose what to do with it. So that is something that I want to mention because it's another avenue that you can take with wholesale, and for there, the returns are easier to manage. Last but not least, for returns, you want to make sure that you're tracking everything. Make sure that you're either keeping a spreadsheet in Google Docs or Excel with all of the returns, all of the tracking numbers, all of the costs, making sure that you are seeing if a customer actually sent an item back. Because with Amazon, if you are exempted from having the returns automatic, then you are required to go ahead and issue the refund. So for there, you want to make sure that the item was actually sent back to the supplier so that you are going to get refunded. So these are a lot of different aspects to look out for. That is more or less how I handle returns in my business. It is an unfortunate cost when doing dropshipping, and it's even more unfortunate with wholesale dropshipping because with retail dropshipping, you can just get a label from your retail suppliers and pass the cost on to them. In a future video, I'm going to go over how I look for higher profit margin items because that is how I build return costs into my item price. I know that in wholesale dropshipping, I am responsible for a lot more costs when it comes to returns. So I look for higher priced items to make up for those costs. That's what I'm going to go over in a future video. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to go ahead and hit the thumbs up button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.